Well, we've done our job pretty well here at AFC Bournemouth. We've wrapped up survival with plenty of games to spare, but we're out of the FA Cup. Our form is dropping away, and the finances are an absolute mess here. We are basically getting through the rest of this season to see what mess we're left with in the summer. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 50 of the head coach with me, Daniel. We bring up the half century at our new club Bournemouth by reaching minus 101 million on the bank balance sheet. It's a big problem at Bournemouth despite the fact we received about 3 million for a sell-on clause or an appearance clause, something like that. It's not helped the club finances at all. We're in a bit of a mess, but on the pitch we've wrapped up our job. What I am wary of though is that, of course, there is a risk of administration. It's something we've seen a lot more in FM24, and with us 13 points clear of the relegation zone, I'm thinking we might need a couple more yet. So if you're looking forward to seeing how we get on against two of the big eight in the Premier League here, as we visit St James's Park in a long away trip before a home game against second place Arsenal, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. We have just dropped off a little bit now. We've gone out of the FA Cup. And to be honest, if it was a normal season and there wasn't a risk financially, we'd say there's nothing to play for, but the finances have dipped into insecure. There's not really any sign of the loss stopping, so we're going to have to be quite careful here. I'm really intrigued to see how this plays out long term, if it just resolves itself, or whether in the summer we're going to see really big problems, because it looks like the director of football is going to have next to no budget to work with and may have to sell a few stars. But first, let me show you what's been going on in and around the club. We'll go and have a look at the recent results in a minute, but first, let me take you to our latest youth intake, which was pretty average if we're being honest. We've got William Beattie, who is a Northern Irish striker with potential, great finisher, but the stats that go around that, or the attributes, sorry, the composure, the anticipation, the heading as well, and the acceleration, not quite there. But again, I would have taken him if we got someone like that in a distillery save last year. So definitely a talent, definitely someone we can rely on. And we've got to have a look at youth because we might be forced to rely on it a bit next year. There is some talent in the youth teams, albeit the potential is not being reached just yet by many of them. But there are a few that could get to that sort of championship or backup level here. And there is a chance we'll have a much thinner squad next time around. So we've got to be wary of it. If we go and have a look at the schedule though and see what's been going on, the good form continued for one more game after the last episode. You saw deadline day, you saw that big win away at Brighton, a classic 1-0. We followed it up with a 2-0 win at home to West Ham. Leonardo and Siganov both popping up with a goal. And Leonardo, to be fair, did do well in a couple of games and has been crucial to our survival. But since then, there's no doubt the form has dropped off. And yes, we knew it would, because the honeymoon wasn't going to last forever, and we're playing some of the tougher teams in the league now. But heartbreak away at Manchester City, Haaland scored 2 in a minute, it was game over. More heartbreak at Everton in the FA Cup, one hell of a cup tie. There was a famous 3-3 between Bournemouth and Everton years ago, wasn't there? I remember it from Soccer Saturday and Chris Kamara, but Spendy got the equaliser off the bench, but in the shootout, Solanke the best taker, our most reliable player so far. He missed one, and as did Josh Doig much further down. Into March, and not reaching that cup quarter-final did seem to have an impact. We lost 2-0 away at Brentford in a pretty tepid display. We drew 2-2 at home to Villa, with Clivert and Leonardo putting us 2 up before we got pegged back in the second half. And then against Liverpool, we lost by 1-0. Interesting to note that the goalkeeper's form is dropping off again. Something we noticed when we joined the club. Did really well for a couple of months, and I'm not sure what's caused it, but we've had the international break now, a chance to reset. We've got a couple of good home games coming up at the end of the season, the Derby and Sunderland, who are still bottom. But between now and then, I would like to pick up a couple of points because I am worried about these finances, which, as you can see there at the top, are now officially insecure. So let's go and get through the fixtures. Let's go to Newcastle away. The rest of the action takes place later this weekend, so anything we can pick up here puts pressure on other teams. But I'm looking at the situation. We've been on international duty. Who does it benefit more? that there's been time off. I mean, they've got the likes of Kieran Tierney, Inacio centre-half, Jarrod Bowen on the right, Mikel on the left, a Spanish international, Goretzka, a German one in the middle, Smith Rowe's there as well, Ramsdale in goal. They've signed half of Arsenal. So let's go and have a look at the team selection. What state is it in? Not great, because Tyler Adams and Mepham are struggling after international duty. Scott, as you can see, has got a knock, which we may have to risk him through. It's only a bruised knee, and according to the reports, there's no real risk of him playing. So we are going to have to make a couple of changes. Our sub-keeper's got a knock as well, but at this point, we've just got to patch it together. Back in a minute to run through the 11, which will now see a few changes. Right then, I've gone for what I feel is probably our strongest possible 11, but also with a bench that's prepared if we do go a few goals down, because we've got a young centre-half on there who's professional, not the best player, but he's been training well, so deserves his opportunity. He'll be on if we desperately need to bring someone onto the pitch. We've got Ollie Byrne on there, of course. We've had to bring Sonko and Spendy on there too, and Mark Steele is the backup keeper today. He's not played a league game for Bournemouth. If we're a couple down, I will bring him on towards the end. The players missing out from the squad after international duty are Adams and Mepham as their conditions poor, and Siganov just got an injury risk, a heavy match load. Not worth the risk at this stage of the season. Alex Scott is going to have to play because Lewis Cook is already in with Adams out, but we have got both Till and Damsgaard there if need be, and I've dropped Damsgaard to the bench purely so I can bring him on there if I need to. We've given Doig a kick up the backside because he's playing poorly. We can wrap up a few more points, just so even administration doesn't matter. I will put Aarons to the left and then bring Ollie Byrne in for a few games because he is a wonder kid, he is homegrown. And ultimately, we're looking at that FFP profit sheet, a 60 to 70 million wonder kid who's not quite first team level at the moment. Might be the solution for us, mightn't he? But this is the 11 we've gone for in full. Koneski is the man between the sticks, with Brassier, the man coming in alongside Zanesi and Zabani as centre-half. We've got Doig and Aarons at wing-back, with Cook joining Scott in centre midfield. Veron comes in on the right for Damsgaard, with Kluivert switching to the left. And Marcos Leonardo plays through the middle. Dom Solanke is there if we need him. Let's go and submit the team for this one. I'll be honest, I'm not expecting any points from this episode. Anything we can get is a bonus. We know at our defensive best, our most resolute, we can pick up results, but I'm not sure we're winning many games without our first choice back three. And I think it's the reason that most of you in the comments said I should have gone for a back four, is because when we do have injuries, what do you then do? Well, we come out with a much weaker centre-half partnership is the simple answer. As Tierney throws into Goretzka, less than a minute on the clock. I'm very envious looking at Newcastle's defence. Here's Ramsdale, out to Cato. I wonder if we fly and keep overachieving just for now, and they have a poor start to next year, do you reckon I can sneak in there? As it comes out on the left-hand side, they cut inside, off the post and away by Senesi. Keeper was beaten, it should have been 1-0. We get away with one, but that was a very worrying first minute and a half. We've not had much of an attacking threat in recent games, and we said this early on in our spell, didn't we? It was great that we were so resolute. It was great that we were winning the games, but we were winning them all by the odd goal, and we were generally FM in the team we were playing. So yes, it looked great, and it's probably secured us survival if the off-pitch matters don't take a factor in it. But it's not been convincing, and when it did dry up, remember Sheffield United the first year in the Prem under Wilder in real life, bit like that. And it just all fell away when they couldn't score goals, and that's happening to us now. As Goretzka gets away down the left, ball back to Inacio, and they're running rings round us here. Canate cuts in. Back to Bruno Guimaraes. Out to the right to Bowen. Plays a 1-2 with Smith Rowe. Bowen in again. Lovely footwork. Great shot. And it's straight at the keeper. Either side by a few inches and that's 1-0. But we're hanging on at the minute. We're doing our job. And we've seen this before, haven't we? We saw it at Chelsea. We saw it against United. We saw it in the last episode against Brighton. Doig has picked up a knock now though, and this might get harder. As Smith Rowe puts it in. Header away to Leonardo. Up as far as Kluivert. Now, can we counter them? Kluivert gives it away. If there's one star that can go in the summer, I'd love it to be Kluivert because he wants to leave. He wants to run down his contract. He's not playing well. His heart's not in it. He'd be the one. If we could make half of that debt back, I'd be a happy man. As Alex Scott tries to pinch it, but it's only momentary. As Smith Rowe releases Canate. Oh, it's off the bar and the goalkeeper. I thought he'd palmed it in. It's a great save in the end. Now Alex Scott's picked up a knock. There's the risk of playing him with an injury. We've only got 3 minutes to the break and we're probably going to concede anyway. So I'm just going to get through to it so we don't lose a sub break, as it's up to Bowen again. Livramento at right back, flying forward to Bowen. Into the box he goes. Across the near post. Oh my words. Defender flicks it into goalkeeper. I think it was Brassier. Koneski can't deal with it, and then the rebound's tapped into the empty net. Koneski again having a bit of a poor spell, and we're having no attacking threat, but can that change now with Kluivert, who's had a stinker? He's not going to shoot, is he? Oh, he does, and he hits the woodwork, to be fair. Konate brings the ball away, and Kluivert almost gets the goal back, but at half-time, this has been an absolute mauling, and the fact it's only one is pretty fortunate, I would say. We're going to say we're disappointed with that performance, but we're not going to take risks. We've got Scott, who's going to be replaced by Damsgaard. We'll switch those two round. And we've got Doig, who's going to be replaced by Maffeo, with Aaron's going to left wing back. We've made 2 changes. We've got 45 to go. We've not made our squad any stronger, put it that way. Got a feeling Newcastle are going to overrun us here. They've taken off their goal scorer and chucked on Ivan Toney. They've brought on Oliver Skip as a squad player as well. They've got a strength in depth that we're incredibly envious of. Because if you look at our bench now, after the 2 we've brought on, we've got Solanke, and then we've got a bunch of kids and backups. I mean, it is very defined that. We're going to make a couple of changes now, and I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm going to put Kluivert on the right, Leonardo on the left, and chuck Solanke through the middle. We've got to go for it. The only winger on the bench is Sonko, who has made 1 sub appearance this year and has not been great. We have got Max Aaron struggling, so tempted to bring on Ollie Byrne, but I won't do it just yet. I'm going to give it about 10 more minutes, and then if we're still losing, I might bring on Mark Steele for his debut as well, just because I think why not at this stage. We're going to encourage the lads. We're going to get a bit of confidence into them. But Bruno's got the ball, and Aaron's has missed his challenge again. Livramento, down the right he goes. Do I rest the centre-half so they don't get injured? Is he given a penalty for that? Aaron's did not foul Livramento there. I mean, it's not going to help his match rating with him about to come off. Penalty will be given. No penalty. Well done, referee. Well done. 15 minutes to go. Aaron's will come off anyway. He's going to be replaced by Ollie Byrne. And then do I just rest one of Kluivert or Leonardo? Because Leonardo in particular, he's so important for us. I think I might just do it. Do I bring on Sonko? I mean, what have we got to lose? He'll go on the right. Kluivert back to the left. And that's where we're going to leave it. 15 remaining. It's still only 1-0. The long and short of it is we've got a chance here because we've not let the game get away from us. And as we head to stoppage time, we're going to go attacking, but I don't think there's anything left to give. I'm proud of the lads for keeping the goal difference down. We were definitely second best, but away at Newcastle, 1-0 is not a bad result at all, is it? We stay in 10th place. Of course, other teams have got games in hand, but the crucial thing for me is the finances, because I genuinely fear there's a risk of administration. Any chance of finishing higher than 9th is gone. And if finances don't play a factor, we're probably going to finish between 9th and 11th, which isn't a bad finish at all. Let's go and get through to the Arsenal game and see how the other results pan out and whether our finances get any worse. Well, I think we've just had our first sign of the inevitable, because the Bournemouth board have provided a cash injection of £4 million to save the club from receivership. However, the future is not secure just yet, because the bank balance is still minus 100 million. It has literally just covered a debt. I'm not sure where the club is going from here, apart from administration, and I'm almost hoping it is this season now, because we've still got a chance to stay up if we get it. If we get it at the start of next year and we start on minus 10, we have got no chance of being a Premier League club. This is a big worry. The supporters are loving us. The board aren't, because we're not raising money for them. But so far, this has been a very strange period. We've done well on the pitch. We've got to a decent position. But I'm still worried about relegation from 10th, because we lose the points now. We're on to 31 and we're straight down to 17th. In fact, is it 10 points or 12? It might be even worse. Let me have a look through the financial rules. Where are you? Administration, 9-point penalty. Right, okay. So we go to 32. We'd be 15th. behind Brighton on goal difference and ahead of Brentford and Palace via the same means. This is not ideal, and we're getting warnings that it might be imminent. So we'll get through to the Arsenal game, hope the debt don't get much worse. We really need the crowd to sell out this place and bring in an extra few £100 each match. Back in a moment for kickoff. Well, we've reached the following Saturday, and so far there's no bad news and the finances have not really changed. However, there is some good news to take my attention away from the financial mess here, and that is my former club Kashima Antlers are 14th in the J1 League after their first 10 games. They've sold 3 more squad players and replaced them with big money players that are no better. That makes me happier. Let's go and have a look at the fixtures because we have got Arsenal at home. Not an easy one. They are embroiled in a big title race at the top, but we should have some of our stars back today. We've got 20,000 through the gate, which is better, but 3,000 empty seats still is a bit of a worry when we're top half of the Premier League, albeit maybe not for long. Let's get Mepham back in for Brassiat to improve that defence. Let's also maybe look at Josh Doig, but I'm going to leave him for now. I'm going to bring Tyler Adams back in for Cook, and we'll go for those two in midfield. We're going to get Areola back on the bench. We're going to get Lewis Cook back on the bench. And we're going to get Siganov in there as well. And I think that leaves us about as strong as we can be. I'm tempted to go up front with Solanke. I am going to go with Siganov on the right. Do I chuck him up there? No, we're going to leave it as it is. This is the 11 for today then. We've brought Mepham back in, Adams back in, and Siganov back in, all after their fitness struggles. Areola's back on the bench. We've got a stronger squad overall. But again, we're not really showing signs of progressing. And the impressive start has begun to fade away. And with administration potentially looming, it could yet end up being a photo finish. I'm almost hoping it does. Because if we get the administration this year, we've got a chance. Next year, it's a big problem. It's a very similar side for Arsenal. They've got another new keeper, this time in Unai Simon. The rest of the 11, though, all there at the start of the game. That's pretty impressive 5.5 years in. They've got Trevor Chalobah on the bench. Patino's made it through, and there's a lot of new players there. But overall, their 11 is very familiar. So let's get into the first half and see how long we can potentially hold them up. Empty seats at Bournemouth for the visit of Arsenal. They're in a title race. We're in mid-table no man's land at the minute, but it might become a problem just yet. As Aarons gets the ball to Zabani. Mepham in the centre circle finds Scott. Out wide left to Doig. Now this would be some start. Doig down the left. Good ball in. Leonardo's there. The flag stayed down. Oh, it's an own goal. I was worried about offside. It's not even a Leonardo goal. Gabriel with an assist for us there. Lovely swipe into his own net. And with 5 gone, no shots on target. We're 1-0 up. That's the sort of help we need as Doig puts in a big cross, which Kivior heads away. Maybe Arsenal have turned up complacent. What a day for this to happen. Kluivert in. Away as far as Scott on the volley. Oh, would have been special, that. I want to whisper it very quietly because those of you who follow the Twitch save will know. In that Luton save, we have ended so many long winless runs with results against Arsenal. It just seems to be the team for me this year. Will it be the same here with Bournemouth? It would be incredible. We have now had our first shot on target, so the scoreline doesn't look quite so bad. But Arsenal definitely the better side, just not doing anything with it. We're keeping the ball well, and we are defensively solid. You give us the lead in a game, we're generally pretty good with it. But can we get a second just to ease the concern here? As Zabani, back towards Mepham, he's got to make that. And he does, to be fair. Senesi switches it quick to Doig, and now Kluivert. The quick switches of play, very much a key part of this formation. As Saka brings down Doig. Referee, fair play, plays a great advantage. And Kluivert has his shot brilliantly saved. But I'm not sure Saka was more than fortunate to get away with that. As Siganov puts the corner into the back stick, Simon gets there. That's pretty poor. Josh Doig, to be fair. Thought about bringing him out. He's had a very good game today so far. At half-time, we are leading the title contenders by 1-0. And if we can build that confidence now and just get that win, it would take the worry away. The worry of what if we go into administration, because we would then have a little bit of a buffer again as Karneski. Big ball down the right. We've got a long way to go yet. We're talking like we've won it. There's nearly 40 minutes to go. Kivior gets down the left, goes inside to Gabriel. Currently our match winner as it stands. He finds Ben White, who's doing that usual tuck into midfield. Ødegaard switches to Martinelli, and there's three in the middle. He cuts it back to Havertz, into Ødegaard. Great save by the goalkeeper. Saka in again, Ødegaard back to White. Surprised he went backwards there. But it stays 1-0, and it's thanks to our goalkeeper, who makes a terrific save this time. An hour on the clock, we've got to think about changes. Kluivert struggling physically. Leonardo's not having a great game, neither is Max Aarons. So I'm going to make a few subs here. Kluivert will be replaced by Veron. We're going to bring Leonardo off for Solanke. And at right wing back, we'll go for the experience of Maffeo, who will now have to try and deal with Martinelli. But 20 minutes remaining, we're 1-0 up, despite not scoring the goal ourselves. The match momentum is swinging for Arsenal. And of course, they're throwing everything at us. Can we find a way as Ødegaard on the free kick? Just off the woodwork, Adams heads away. And Gabriel will keep it in. We're going to take Scott off on a yellow card for Lewis Cook. Just over 10 to go. It leaves us one change. Adams is struggling. Siganov struggling. I'm going to take Siganov off. We'll bring on Damsgaard and switch the other two round. We'll get both of those on support duties for now. Tyler Adams is struggling a bit, so we'll go centre mid on defend for him. Just get into a nice little shape here. I don't want to time waste too early, and I still want an attacking threat out wide, but we've got to know where we are here. This would be a huge result. We've got 5 minutes added on. I'm going to do it. We're going cautious. We're going to get the wing backs on defend as well. And we're going to do what you saw in that early good run. We're going to get to the back five. We're going to get to the midfield four. And we're just going to try and see this out, because this would be a remarkable result. We've done it against Chelsea. We've done it against United. Can we now do it against Arsenal as well? Playing for set pieces, reducing the tempo, no overlaps, and an awful lot of time wasting. Let's also slow the pace down when we're in possession. When we're out of it, we're going to drop off more. We don't want to get caught in behind. They score a screamer, fair play to them. 5 minutes added, here we go. Can we hold on for a big 3 points? What a result for AFC Bournemouth. Why are we still playing at 7 minutes? Bournemouth 1, Arsenal 0. It is like our debut against Chelsea all over again. What an effort. What a result. And defensively, these boys have been magnificent. Doig had a great game. Karneski in goal was brilliant. And we have just about, I think, secured our Premier League place. Don't forget, we're not worrying about what points we're on. We're thinking, what happens if we lose 9? And as it stands, we'd be on 35 and still in 12th, which I think is okay. 7 points clear of the relegation zone with just 5 games to go. Haaland did us a favour against Forest. Wolves and Southampton drew, which is probably a good result for us. So in the end, we've got to be pleased with that effort. What a win against big opposition again. We didn't look like scoring all game, but it didn't matter because Gabriel did it for us. Now, what on earth do we have to do to sell out the stadium? Because these boys are putting in everything and they're not getting any reaction at all. We're impressing at Bournemouth apparently. Will Still's watching Kluivert, who you're more than welcome to take him, mate. How much? 50 million. Yep, you can have him for that. I'll even take a little bit less. We're going to get through the press conference and worry about the future, because the only issue for the rest of this season is what happens here. We'll find out next time around as we return for our final 2 games of the league season. Normally I'd just do the last one, but the penultimate is the return derby on the South Coast against Southampton. So we'll show that and bottom place Sunderland. The bottom 2, in fact. We could relegate Southampton with a home win. And will we be any closer to administration or receivership, which we've had risks about? I don't know if it's possible for a club to physically go out of business in FM. I'm presuming it's not. But administration could be a worry at the very least. If you're looking forward to finding out what goes on now, as we continue the train of 1-0s either way, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you thought of the 2 performances. This style just seems to be perfect when we've got everyone fit. But I've got a fear we're going to have a shadow of this squad next season, and I've no idea what we're going to do at that point. If you want to stay up to date and find out the answer, and see whether we can complete the double in the South Coast Derby, then do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back in a couple of days' time to finish the season, and hopefully stay afloat financially. But in the meantime, there is big news from our other save. We have got a massive transfer special with Southend United tomorrow. Those who are up to date will know why. keep your eyes peeled for it. It's going to be a special one. It's going to be quite amusing as well. In addition to that, we've got the Twitch channel, which you can find up in the eye above, as well as the football podcast with loads of predictions and other content too. But thank you very much for your support as always, for joining me for this special episode. It's another big win at home by 1-0. It is our 5th 1-0 win since we've been here, and that has been the difference between a relegation battle and, financial problems aside, a comfortable mid-table finish. I'll see you next time to see if it stays that way.